Mr. Maluleke, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time. We're just under half an hour away from the official announcement by the Education Minister Angie Motshekga of the 2020 matric pass rate. Anything in particular that you're wanting to hear today?
Thank you for having us indeed, and good afternoon to your viewers at home. We would really appreciate a situation where the Minister today would spend some time in appreciating the situation that our teachers found themselves in 2020, and the efforts that they have put into their work in making sure that those learners who were not coming back to school, parents refusing to bring them, those teachers went to their homes and making sure that they encourage and motivate those particular learners to come back and be able to write their matric under those particular circumstances. So we would want to hear how the 2020 fared in terms of the quality of education, not in terms of the overall pass mark, but in terms of how they have fared in terms of the bachelor's as well as those particular specific learning areas for them to be able to pursue whatever careers they would want to pursue. So it is about the quality under those particular circumstances, whether the COVID-19 has impacted on that or only on overall pass mark.
What, in Sadtu's view, during the lockdown and the COVID-19 disruptions to education, would you say was the greatest challenge that teachers had to contend with?
The greatest challenge that the teachers had to contend with in 2020 was the uncertainty of this particular virus, because you didn't know whether the school will be closing after 2-3 days. So that was a problem, because once there's a case, the school closed, and therefore sometimes it's been lost around that particular issue. And the grade 12 themselves really did not have time to rest throughout, together with their management team, having to sleep at the level of the schools during the weekend and so forth. It was very difficult, and the issue of anxiety and mental health of our teachers were the issues that they had to contend with and so forth, because we didn't have knowledge about the signs of this particular virus until this year. So it was always a guesswork in terms of what needed to happen, but they never got to be deferred. They continue to be teaching our learners until they write.
Do you expect then, Mr. Maluleke, that the pressures that you've just outlined will show in the results?
Well, it is very clear that the pressure will show in the results, given the fact that we're living in a country of inequality. Clearly, you're going to have to see the differences between those schools that were able to bring all the learners at the same time and those schools that were not able to reopen as a result of lack of water and sanitation in those particular rural areas. So the issue of two nations in one, it is going to show. The issue of the rich and the poor is also going to show in these particular results. However, when it comes to the resilience in terms of the education system, we can say that the 2020 and 2019 and 18 will be comparable in terms of the quality, because the teachers have put much effort into making sure that even those learners that did not have the access or the gadgets at home or online or e-learning, they still were able to cover the syllabus.
Very quickly, before we part ways, you reflected in that school readiness survey that you conducted among principals on the concern of some of the headmasters about the preparedness of pupils who were in grade 11 in 2020 and how they might be possibly disadvantaged this year because they had a condensed curriculum and may in some areas be found wanting as they take on the final exams this year.
Yeah, it's true. These are the deficits that we'll have got to deal with them for over a period of time, and therefore it is important that as the schools are addressing those areas that were not covered in 2020 for the grade 11, they are able to be given all the support to concentrate on those particular competencies that are necessary. But also it gives us an opportunity of really questioning the curriculum itself and the orthodoxies of the curriculum on whether everything that we teach our learners are necessary in this particular type of economy, which is not necessarily an industrialized economy. And therefore, we need to be looking at what skills are necessary for the gig economy so that we don't really bombard our learners with things that basically are not going to help them. We need to build a holistic person. I fully agree with that. However, there are things that are not necessary. And it showed when we were trimming their curriculum that there are things that we might have to we can do without moving forward. So, but I acknowledge it is not easy for the teachers because they still have got to cover all those particular areas. And indeed, in a crisis, leaders are going to emerge. So the 2021 matric, we must not undermine them or underestimate their determination. They will still be able to make it.
Mugwena Maluleke, good to speak to you this afternoon. Thank you.